Isn't Carlo Rambaldi the guy who did the special effects for E.T.?
I think so.
Eastman Color, I was wondering whether it was Technicolor. Because then Suspiria would be Technicolor. I think it's the last film ever made in Technicolor, Suspiria.
Wow, well, Pablo Cholset here, director of the International Film Series.
Hi, Sabrina Negri, assistant professor in the Department of Cinema Studies and Moving Image Arts.
We just finished watching
Profondo Rosso.
Deep Red, Dario Argento.
1975.
And wow.
That was good. That was awesome. That was so good.
I have to confess, I feel like I may not have seen this since I saw it on, well no, this is not true. I've got two recollections of it. Working at the video station, seeing it on a Laserdisc, but then I also, more recently, by which I mean like 10 years ago, remember seeing a 16 millimeter print in the backyard for the summer series that I do. Well, awesome except for the fact that the 16 millimeter print is cropped.
What?
Yeah, so now we can't give spoilers.
No, of course.
But there is essential information. That
don't say more. Let's just say that the fact that it's CinemaScope, or Techniscope to be more precise, is essential to the nature of this film. Like seeing a cropped print doesn't make any sense.
And back when I used to work at the video station in Boulder, they used to have this little thing to explain, because back then a lot of things got released flat rather and cropped. And there was a picture of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and it showed it what it looks like when it's cropped. And you can't see the good, and you can't see the ugly, you just see the bad.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what happens with Profondo Rosso, Deep Red. You have to see everything on the big screen.
Yeah, and this is the first time for me, it's the first time I saw it on the big screen.
What?
I know. I've seen this film like 20 times, and I had never seen it on the big screen. And I mean, the screen here is really big.
It is. So we should mention Munzinger Auditorium. This is where we are, 400 seats. We're going to be screening Deep Red as part of Sabrina's class.
Yeah, so detective fiction on Wednesday at 7:30.
That is this Wednesday.
I don't know the day.
February
20-something. No. I can check.
We'll come back. But Sabrina's gonna introduce it.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, and it stars David Hemmings, who, for those of you who are art house aficionados, you'll recognize him from Antonioni's Blow Up.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
19th. Yeah, I just checked.
February 19th, Wednesday, right?
Yes, Wednesday, February 19th, 7:30.
Munzinger.
Be here. I'll be here in person to introduce this film.
Yep.
And I do recommend seeing it on the big screen. I've seen this film like 20 times before. I feel like I've seen it for the first time now.
I did too,
like,
and there were shots,
seriously.
there were things in there that I don't remember at all, at all. And the staging of certain moments. There was that one scene where you have 3 women who are to the left as action is happening on the right-hand side of the screen, and one woman is looking off the screen to the left and off the screen to the right and then to the. But it was very interesting. It was like a completely unusual dynamic that added something unique to the power of the shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And the fact that, I mean, on the big screen, of course, it's way more apparent than on a TV screen. But that, I think, is where you see a very clear connection between Argento and Antonioni.
Oh, and let's talk about, because it's not just that David Hemmings, who was in Antonioni's Blow Up, was the protagonist. It's also that the cinematographer, right, did Antonioni's L'Avventura.
Yeah, and Argento and Antonioni worked together. They knew each other very well. Argento considered Antonioni sort of a mentor. And being Antonioni an architect, you can see that influence on Argento's cinema.
Yeah.
Like his shots are perfectly designed. The mise-en-scène is very elegant.
Yeah.
You can see the eye of an architect there, even though Argento himself is not an architect, but that comes from Antonioni.
Well, let's talk a little bit about architecture. You were talking about that incredible mansion that's a major set piece in the third act, and this is in, it's an actual building in...
Oh yeah, I mean, all the location shooting was done in Turin, not in Rome.
And so for the people who don't know where that, like where within Italy is Turin?
So Turin is in the northwest of Italy. It's kind of at the feet of the Alps.
Okay.
It's close to France, close to Switzerland. So it's far from Rome. And even though in the film they say that that mansion is Rome, and they mention Rome a couple of times, no, it was not shot in Rome. It has nothing to do with Rome.
No.
It was all shot in Turin. That's a city that Argento actually has a very close connection to.
What's his close connection to?
Oh, he just shot a lot of his films in Turin for some reason. I don't know why. I guess, well, most likely because it was maybe cheaper. I don't know. But the architecture in the city is very interesting, and Argento knew it, and all of the location shooting that you see in the film.
And it's not just location shots. I think, and this is one of the things that I like to always tell people is that one of the reasons I love movies is that I consider movies to be time machines, basically. And what a time machine this is!
Yes.
Because the thing is that even though it was released in 1975, but Italy in 1975 is a little bit like, in the United States, that would be more like 1968 or 69 when it comes to cars, typewriters, and all that kind of a thing. Is that okay to say? And I pointed out.
I feel a bit offended.
I'm sorry. I understand that there's a little bit of subtext there. I don't mean that, but that small car is...
Yeah, the Cinquecento.
The Cinquecento. Oh, that was fabulous. The shots with David Hemmings, and he doesn't... The seat has been taken out from under him, so he's just below. And well, we should talk about Daria
Nicolodi, yes.
Nicolodi, who, take it away.
Yeah, Daria Nicolodi, who plays Gianna in the film, the journalist, she will then become Argento's partner. I don't think they ever got married.
Were they not No, they never got married, I don't think, but weren't they partners already during the shoot of this film?
I'm not sure.
But she is the mother of...
Asia Argento.
Asia Argento.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, she made a few films with Dario. The last one
some
in the
refer
90s,
to her as Dario's muse for during this because he had 3 films that were considered among his better ones, right?
Yeah, so she's in what? She's in this, and she's in Trauma, I think. And she's in what? What else?
Is it opera or phenomena? I can't remember offhand.
Oh, in Phenomena, I think. Oh, I can't remember now.
Well, okay, we'll put that aside. But the thing is, the interplay between David Hemmings and Daria is just, it's really, there's the arm wrestling sequence, there's a lot of, and what's interesting to think about is gender politics, especially what we're recording this in 2020. And I guess a part of me would like to ask, you know, we're in Boulder, Colorado, and it's, you know, horror normally doesn't play very well. And in fact, when we screen this, you know, we'll probably have your class and maybe, you know, 10, 12, 20.
No, come see this film. It's an amazing film. Even if you're not into horror, even if you're into architecture, even if you're into mise-en-scène, come see this film. It's an amazing film.
You're gonna
and
have
it's not a horror film. It's a giallo. It's a mystery.
So, Sabrina, you're teaching a what class? It's a
detective fiction.
Detective fiction. So maybe talk a little background as to giallo and detective fiction and how this plays in there.
Well, I mean, giallo is a peculiarly Italian genre. It's a murder mystery, but it has a lot of, I wouldn't want to say horror undertones, but kind of, more gory
You're going to have to give trigger
elements.
warnings for people who've just come back from the dentist, for example.
Yeah. I'll give trigger warnings when I introduce the film.
Okay, good. Boulder needs lots of trigger warnings. Well, actually, a film critic, Michael Casey from the Boulder Weekly, doesn't like that word. So we have to come up with another word that's different, that just sort of helps set the stage, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. But what were we saying?
I think, well, we should also not forget to mention the incredible score by Goblin.
Yes. So this is the first film, actually, that Argento worked with Goblin. Because I think before he worked with Ennio Morricone.
Wow, yeah, that's right.
So he did the score for his films before Deep Red. And for Deep Red, he wanted to change, even though, I mean, they're kind of in the vein of Morricone.
I remember when I first saw Once Upon a Time in the West and seeing Argento's name in the credits for that, which is another wonderful and great, fantastic
Argento
film.
was worked with Sergio Leone, of course, for very long. Yeah, that's where he got his eye, I think, for mise-en-scène. Leone on the one hand and Antonioni on the other hand. It's match made in heaven.
And right there, by the way, Leone on one hand and Antonioni on the other hand.
Yeah.
How often can you say that about a director where those are the two influences that come together to make that movie happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty unique case.
Yeah.
And I think that Argento really put together the cinemascope talent of Sergio Leone and the architectural eye of Antonioni. And he really was able to merge this, while at the same time, like, having a style that's completely like in harmony with the content.
Yeah.
That's something that I would say about this film, that it hardly ever happens. I mean, it's a very stylized film, it's very aestheticized, but style is never gratuitous. All is at the service of the plot and the content. And that's why it's so hard to talk about this film without saying anything, without like giving away too much about the plot.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's such a great and unique communion, you know, of formal elements and narrative elements that you really see very rarely. I really think this is Argento's masterpiece, and one of the Italian masterpieces of the 1970s, if I might say.
From Italy, Sabrina, telling everyone here who is watching or hearing, one of the great masterpieces.
I think so. I really think so.
And you can see it on the big screen here in Munzinger Auditorium on
Yes, come Wednesday
February
19th. 7:30. I'll be here to introduce it.
Introducing.
And I hope to see you here. Please come. It's a great film. You should watch it.
And
on the
turn
big
off
screen.
your cell phones. No talking during the movie.
Well, I remind you. Ciao.